movies over here. So yeah, hey everyone, my name is Pete, and I'm a doctoral student in the clinical psychology program here at Utah State. And so part of what that program is all about is there's a big research component. So I'm here today to kind of talk about the process of doing research, what research is. I'm understanding that you guys will be doing a research project for this class. So kind of give a little bit of an introduction to what research is, and then also kind of give you guys an example of how we do research in the psychology department by having you guys participate in my study. So yeah, and then afterwards we can have a chance to talk about my research and research in general and what I did, and then that should take us right up to the end of the class. So I wanted to start by just having a little bit of a dialogue, conversation with you guys about what you know about research. So maybe the best question to start with is, what's the first step in the process of doing research? Where do we begin? You guys have any ideas?
Having a topic to research?
Yeah, that's kind of important, isn't it? So you need a topic. So the first step is finding something that you're interested in. And I will say that picking a topic that's interesting to you personally is pretty important when you're doing research. By the end of doing any sort of research project, you're going to be sick of whatever you're studying. So you need to start off with something that's at least appealing and interesting. So does anyone have an idea of like a potential topic they're thinking about that maybe we can kind of go through as an example? I can make one up on the spot too. Why don't, since today is such a nice sunny day, why don't we make our topic the weather and how the weather affects people's energy levels. Okay, so maybe our topic is the weather outside and how energized you feel as a person. Okay, so after you come up with the topic, the next step is going to be coming up with a research question. So what would be a research question for our topic of energy level and weather? What would be a question that we could ask about that?
How the weather affects some people's mood?
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How does weather affect energy? How does weather affect my mood? Stuff like that would be appropriate research questions. Okay. So once we have a topic and we have a specific question that we'd be interested in researching, the next step is to go and find out more information. This is kind of the step where we're actually doing the research. I'll call it the literature review. Because the bottom line is that we're probably not the only ones who have asked this question before, and that it's pretty likely that other people have also had this sort of idea and maybe even investigated it in their own research. So we don't want to start from scratch. We don't want to just start with write an experiment. We want to know what's been done before. What have other people said about this topic? So we're going to need to find more information. And so when we're looking for more information, where are some of the places that we can go? What are some of the resources that we can use when we're trying to find answers to this research question that we're asking?
Internet.
Internet, yeah. And it is important to keep in mind that the internet, the quality of the information definitely varies a lot. So it's an easy source of information, and some sources are better than others, so you gotta be a critical consumer. Yeah?
Research journals?
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite, personally. Looking at the research journals. And in psychology, we call them peer-reviewed journals. And that means that these journals are edited, looked at by experts in the field. So you'll submit a paper to one of these journals. Maybe it's the Journal of Weather and Mood. You'll submit a paper to that, and it'll be, the people that will read your essay will all be experts in that field. So they'll be the ones deciding, is your work up to snuff? Do you not understand the concept fully? So it's a really good way to get other scientists, other experts to look at your information as opposed to just anything someone can put up on the internet. There's, of course, also a lot of books. Maybe there's a bunch of books out there about this topic already. And so the neat thing about research is that you may start with this one question, and you may find that your question changes as you go into literature. So we take our research question, and we try to start solving it here in the literature review. And maybe there's already been 10 studies published that show the link between sunny weather and having a good mood. Maybe that's not an appropriate research question for us anymore because we already know the answer. So if that's the case, we're going to need to go back and decide if we need to change our question up at all. Maybe after we read the literature, we realize that, hey, no one's really explained the effects of the time of day on mood yet. Maybe that's an area we can look at. So you go up and you make a new question, what's the effect of time of day on mood? And then you go down and you do some more research again. So, you know, that research is this process of asking questions, looking for answers, then asking questions again. Slightly different questions each time. And so we're taking our idea and we're kind of refining it down. Okay? Maybe we started really broad with our topic, and as we review the literature, we're getting more narrow and narrow in terms of what our actual question is going to be. So, if you're just writing a paper and you're not doing any experimentation, this is kind of the end of the line. You gather all of your information, and that's it. For me in psychology, and I'm not sure what your guys' experiences will be in the future, there's an expectation to also collect your own data and to try to answer this question not by what other people have said in the literature, but by what you have gathered through your data collection. So then the next step here is going to be to either experiment or collect data. And that brings me to my study. So that's the phase that I'm in right now. I'm in this data collection phase for my research. I don't want to tell you too much about it now because I don't want it to influence your responses. But after everyone finishes their survey, I'll kind of give a brief summary of my research, how it relates to this process, and then kind of an idea of where I'm going to go from here. Okay? So it's a survey study, which means that there's no right or wrong answers. You just answer how you generally feel. Okay? First thing that you'll find in this packet that I'm going to give you is a letter of information. And it's going to just kind of give you a summary of the study and what we're doing with this research. Important things to keep in mind are that this is totally voluntary. You're not forced to take the survey. There are no consequences if you don't. So just be aware of that. There's no coercion involved. And also, you don't have to answer any of the questions if they make you feel uncomfortable. I'm not forcing you to answer every single question either. So, you know, you have some choice and you have some freedom in this matter. That being said, I'd really appreciate as much data as I can. So, you know, if you guys are willing and interested, I'd appreciate your participation. Going on to the actual study itself, it is 5 pages, and they're all double-sided. So be sure to check out both sides of each page. They have questions on them. Okay? Important things to keep in mind. Be sure to read the instructions at the top, especially any words that are bolded or capitalized, because they're going to give you more specific kind of details as to what this is all about, help you understand the survey as best as you can. As I was saying before, there's no right or wrong answers. You just go with how you feel is best. And yeah, that's about it. So I can hand these out now, and I'll be here to answer any questions if you guys have them. So it should take about 30 minutes to complete. So be aware of that. And hopefully we'll have some time at the end where I can talk about all this. If some people are slower, that's fine. I may just end up talking a little bit as the final people are finishing up.